Hazbin Hotel has been a show which is really fun to watch, even though it does have a lot of problems. Whether it has to do with writing, profanities, or even character design, Hazbin Hotel has been on blast since before it even came out, which is kind of sad to see. But the biggest issue with the show is something in which isn't even the creator's fault at all, but something that most likely Viz Pop herself is trying to remedy. The biggest problem of all with the show seemingly comes down to the greedy corporations, which in this case is Amazon. We know that when A24 picked up Hazbin Hotel and took it to Prime, 2 8-episode seasons were greenlit. So, I imagined we would begin episodes around 45 minutes, the length of other adult animated 8-episode per season shows on Prime. Invincible, that's the episode length there. So, guess my surprise when I sat down to watch the first episode with everyone else premiering on YouTube, that after 24 minutes, it came to an end. And each subsequent episode has that same 24 minutes exactly, everyone, no variance at all. The 8-episode season has been a plague of the streaming age, with it being adopted by so many shows, and it works if we're dealing with long episodes. Blue Samurai adopts it, and every episode is like a mini movie, which works great. Same with Invincible. But if we only get the 24-minute episodes, it just means we're getting a third of what we would have gotten if the show was on cable. I can't think of any animated show with 24-minute episodes, which is great despite the 8-episode season. Each time, they all feel hollow in one way or another, and like they miss many of the fundamental elements they needed for the show to work. And that's definitely the case with Hazbin Hotel, even though it's so sad to see. The 5th episode of the show is 5 months after the first one took place in universe, which is crazy because the 1st and 2nd episode are a day apart, the 5th and 6th are a day apart, so in 6 episodes we only have 4 different time periods over the course of 5 months, when the whole season has a set limit of 6 months. Plus, we only have 2 episodes left, and certain members of the main cast still feel pretty bland, specifically Vaggie and Nifty, who, while having featured in the show a lot, especially with Vaggie, where we've learned a lot about her as well, they really haven't undergone any change. So we have all these things, which aren't necessarily plot holes or unanswered questions, but just gaps which probably should have been filled in. Episode 6, my favorite episode, when Angel goes out to the bar, it feels like he's a great person, which is a great scene. But we don't get the build up to that, which makes it kind of lackluster, because just the episode 4, that's where we learn that he's sexually abused by Valentino, but that doesn't make him redeemed, even though the show treats it like it, because they don't have enough time to do anything else. We needed more time to see his transformation from sinner to possible saint, which is what this episode was about, is can Angel be redeemed? That's the plot. It's a court case trying to solve that. In episode 2 and 3, we see Alistair go out on the town to do errands, and those were some of the best moments in the whole episode, and I want to see so much more of that, because it was really fun. We need to spend more time with the V's, with Lucifer, give Sir Pentious an actual arc since his really just ended in episode 2. I mean, there's a great gag in episode 6, but
because I'm having sex with everyone here!
that doesn't count. We need Charlie and Vaggie's relationship fleshed out more. We needed to see what happened in the extermination, which took place hours before the show began, which is just crazy. I understand why we didn't see the extermination, because if we only have 8 episodes in the season, to have the first episode and then the last one as well be of the extermination, it wouldn't make sense, because then you only have 6 real episodes. But that just showcases the problems with the system of 8 episodes and why it doesn't work. We are losing important content due to a lack of time. But if we had a full season, extermination at the beginning and end could have been something actually poetic and give us a clear metric to the change of characters, narrative, and society throughout the show. Another big issue which the show fails to reach is getting its stride until the second half of the show, or the second quarter of the 2 seasons we're getting. One of my favorite shows of all time, The Owl House, also didn't reach its stride until the 5th episode. The difference is, The Owl House was a quarter of the way into its first season, not the whole show. If Hazbin Hotel has so little time, then it can't afford to take time to find its footing, even though almost every cartoon takes a few episodes to find its stride. The 8-episode season is sabotaging Hazbin Hotel and has been making it weaker overall a product because it goes against what has been done for so long, not because it's a good idea that Vivzy Pop has and wants to flesh it out and thinks she can do something good with it, but for greed. There's a lot of speculation going on that Hazbin Hotel only had 2 seasons greenlit because it's supposed to be one big season split up very early on so Amazon could spread out the show more and make more money through subscriptions. And this makes sense as all the evidence I've given suggests this. Everything I've talked about is the pacing problems of a season with too little time. And if Vivzy Pop only got half the time she wanted for the same story to be told in this one season, then of course everything I mentioned would have to be cut. But I also think some things could be cut in a full season for the better. In the first 4 episodes, it isn't as much a problem as the most recent 2, but in those first episodes, there was one good song, and then there was a weaker song. If we got a full season of 16 or even 20 episodes, then maybe we would just cut it down to 1 song per episode. Really, since episode 3, I have confidence that 2 songs an episode can work, but if we got a full show, maybe even for pacing, it could just be better, but either way, I don't know. Even a full season really seems to fix every problem. We have more time for the characters to develop and to form bonds with one another. The writers have time to find their footing, and the songwriters can really just nail it down so we get 2 bangers each episode. Even the issue with swearing is one that gets better over time. In episode 1, I had a big issue with Charlie swearing all the time, like it's no big deal, even though it goes against her character. But in episode 6, Charlie still swears a few times, but it is treated with the severity that it deserves, at least coming from her mouth. It feels intentional, like it couldn't be achieved with any other word for the story. And one more issue in relation to Amazon is the release. We only have 8 episodes, and then we need to wait at least a year. It could be 2, could be 3, we don't know. And yet all 8 episodes will be released in the span of 3 weeks. It all comes down to Amazon wanting to keep their subscribers, which shows that Amazon has enough confidence to make this show a headliner, but not enough to give it the proper release schedule which it deserves, and that's really insulting to everyone who works on the show, and just disgusts me to my core. During the past few weeks, it has been very sad to see Vivzy Pop being put on blast for so many mistakes in this show, even though the majority of them are things she has no control over. It's Amazon. Blame Amazon. I mean, everything she's doing is great, and I love the show, and it's sad to see it being hated so much and see it ruined. But hopefully, even though we'll probably never get the 16-episode season of Hazbin Hotel, if we support the show, at least we might get a 3rd season and a 4th, and hopefully however many more we need for this amazing story to be finished as Vivzy Pop sees fit. But even with all the problems, Hazbin Hotel is still a great sign for indie animators. For the past month, I've been hard at work creating my own animated short film all about justice and revenge. It is something very special to me, and I hope that you'll check it out.